Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building. She's back.
Yeah, she was just telling us how to disarm people with Jolly Ranchers.
That's right. Chelsea Handler, welcome.
Chelsea's back.
You know, the last time I was here, I remember somebody pulling out their penis.
What?
Yeah.
I wasn't here. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't
you
can't
weren't
believe that
here. There was a
happened.
white guy here, and he pulled his penis out.
Oh.
Are you
Who
sure
was
that was
that?
here?
It was Greg T. It was
Oh, yeah.
Greg T from
Oh,
the
yeah.
Elvis Show. Yeah, he came up in here.
That was pre-Me Too Times Up movement. I'm sure he won't be doing that
Yeah, he won't be
stunt
doing that
anymore.
anymore.
Well, I'm here to press charges.
Well, Elvis Duran's studio was right down the hall. That's where he works.
You know, he always pulls out his penis. I actually have video of him and his penis out.
He does it a lot.
And then I had my makeup artist at the time was so excited. He was gay, and he was like through the window taking pictures of the guy's penis.
He likes little penises? It was
yeah,
not swinging.
I guess
You
think
just
he
did the
likes
swinging
any
motion.
penis.
It was very tiny.
okay,
You
okay.
know, you know.
Like,
Anyway, it was a great morning way to wake up. So I want to thank you guys for having that having
Sorry you
that
don't have that
experience
part of the
together.
sausage for the Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
part of the breakfast.
And I
I
think
get it.
sometimes
I totally get it.
Yes.
small penises don't seem as pornographic as when somebody pulls out like a big penis.
Yeah,
Not
it
having this convo. Not in this area.
sounded like
like
a little baby clitoris. You know,
Right, like a button.
Like if we pull, yeah, exactly. Let's move on anyway. Sorry to bring up some terrible memory.
All penises are small clitorises for the record, though.
That's right.
Now, do you have a crush on Robert Mueller?
I
Mueller?
have.
Robert
I said
Mueller.
Mueller.
I don't know
Mueller.
Robert
I
Mueller.
mean, Robert Mueller. Do you
I'm
have a crush on
sexually
him?
attracted to him. Yes, I like him. I like anybody. I come from a father who didn't pay attention to any rules or ethics or standards or morals. So I look at someone like Robert Mueller and I'm turned on by that. Not to marry, but just to have fun with for a couple of hours.
What
Was
if
he
he slid in your
attracted to you
DMs?
even after the Mueller report came out
Well,
and there was no collusion?
once I read the report, I don't think he said there was no collusion. I think he
Okay.
said there's no proof of collusion. But once I read the full report, whenever we get it,
Yeah.
then I can decide if I'm still attracted to him.
Yeah, he seems like a lot less of a hero to me now.
Me
I
too.
thought he was going
but
to nail him.
yeah, well, I'm just not going to have my love be conditional. I'm going to wait and see what happens. I don't want to, you know.
Has he tried to contact you, slide in your DMs or anything?
He probably has. I mean, I'm sure he's married, so there's that little.
Chelsea,
That'll hurt
come
things
on.
a little
Does that
bit.
matter?
You could be a
Yeah,
sister
it does.
wife.
It does matter because I want to respect married people, but I want to. But that doesn't mean I don't have the feelings I have. I do have
Okay.
them, and I'm expressing them to get them out, put them out in the air, and so hopefully they'll evaporate at some point. You know, you just got to put stuff out there.
You wouldn't be a sister wife?
No. I'm too. I don't. I have the wrong attitude for that. It's called bitch. I'd be such a terrible sister wife. But I'm here to talk about my book. Life
Yes.
will be the death of me.
Life would be a death for you.
It's interesting because in your book you talk about dating guys, right? I haven't read the whole book, only excerpts because that's all that's available for us right now.
Yeah,
But
your
you
book
did talk-
publishing company's cheap. They didn't send any
They
advance
said
copies.
none. No
Really?
copies.
Oh,
no.
good to know. Good to know. Random House. Good to know.
Yeah, Random
we
House.
want those books, but you did talk about messing with guys who were a lot younger than you, and you actually ended up feeling bad when they got fired from their jobs. And
Yeah, I've had a lot of I like older men, just typically speaking, because I have my daddy issues. I like guys that are older, but once I'm, now I'm in my 40s, so guys are getting old, and so I have to lower the margin. And when I try and hook up with young guys, it's a disaster because they're not mature, they don't have any money, and that's cute for a little bit, but not for like longer than a month. And so I've gotten into some situations where I've had people fired for having sex with me at a resort that they work at. I've had a lot of bad luck in that department. So I'm just going to stay away from anybody under 30 because they get confused.
Well, the beauty of relationships is what that person doesn't have, you may have. So you have the maturity and the money, and they got the young, firm penis.
Yes, but at 28 years old, I really don't want to deal with somebody like unless they're mature and an adult just for sex at this point. Like
Gotcha.
I've had enough sex in my life. So now I just have to go into the area of a real relationship with a real person and be honest about the fact that I want to be in a relationship because I think for so long with me especially, I was pretending I didn't want to be in a relationship to be tough and be independent and fierce. And after enough therapy, I realized, yes, it's okay to say you want to be in a relationship. That doesn't mean you're needy.
Yeah. So the kid at the resort that got fired, did you send him a little money? Like, here's a severance package.
Well, that's also a problem I have is I give away a lot of money to people once they
you.
do get fired because I feel badly and I need to stop doing that.
right. They know the risk.
Yes, they do know the risk, but I feel, they lost their job. They shouldn't have been cavorting around with me, and I want to ameliorate the situation. So I'll give somebody, I talk about it in my book. I'm not proud of it, but I have done it a couple of times, given somebody like $20,000 to just not contact me again.
Wow.
Or 30.
Go away.
It takes.
Get ahead of your settlements,
Say,
Chelsea.
hey, listen, I'm sorry you lost your job. Here's money for the next 5 years of what you would have made or whatever, a year,
So
not
it's Caribbean.
five.
He was a West Indian guy, Caribbean guy?
They're all guys visiting, but usually it takes place somewhere in the Bahamas.
I
You know what? That's
or
true.
in a ski town.
I respect
sometimes.
a person who negotiates their own settlements.
Well, yeah, exactly. I have to go. It's like an NDA, but with someone signing anything.
No paperwork.
It's
In the
just
Bahamas, they're not
It's an open-ended NDA, so it's the worst kind.
They're not even allowed to gamble in the casinos in the Bahamas, and then they're not allowed to go to your room either.
No. Well, they are allowed to come to my room, but for a very short amount of time, and then it's over. So that's the problem.
So you like black guys?
I do. I like white guys too, though. I'm not just
guys.
one thing. I don't like one person. No, I'm not into that.
What
But if
about
you're going to pay
Latinos?
for it, you're going to pay for a
If
black
I'm going
guy.
to pay for it, I'm going to pay for a black guy. That's
Yeah.
right.
What about Latinos? Any Latinos?
I haven't had. Are you Latino?
Yes,
Wow.
he is. Every
Puerto
student
Rican.
is shot.
Oh, I thought.
He trimmed his beard for you, by the way.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks tight. No, I haven't been with a Latino guy recently or an Asian guy. That's still on my bucket list.
Okay, but
Why is that on your bucket
my dad's
list?
You know
Chinese.
why?
No,
Your
I
dad's
don't.
Chinese?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
there you
know.
go. So
Yeah.
you've got Chinese in your blood.
Yes, I do.
And are you attracted to Asian men?
My mom told me never date a Chinese guy.
Because
Of my dad, I guess.
good advice.
But you also have a documentary about white privilege that you're working on. as
So
well.
I did this book. I kind of had a mental breakdown when Trump was elected. And I had a lot of outrage that I needed to harness and make it into something positive because I was in a state of reaction and I wanted to be in a state of action. Instead of bitching and moaning about him, I wanted to be able to do something about it. And I was just like a spoiled brat, like so many people. I didn't think this could happen in our country, and I was naive, and I was an elitist. I am an elitist. I've tried very hard to become one. And, and so I had to really have a wake-up call and like dig deep and go to a psychiatrist to bitch about Donald Trump. And I was perfectly happy doing that and paying somebody to listen to me talk about him. I would have paid double. Excuse me. And after that, I was like, okay, what kind of work do I really want to do? Do I want to, do I want to be on a talk show? Do I want to do documentaries? Do I want to? And my experience in therapy just made me realize this is important stuff. If I'm going to overshare and make a career out of oversharing, I may as well overshare the important stuff. So what he broke down for me was what Donald Trump represents to me and to so many people, which is instability and destabilization. And so I had to wake up, and I feel good. I meditate now. I drink a lot less. I smoke a lot more. I'm into cannabis big time. It's legalized in California, and it'll be legalized everywhere. And that is the way forward for sure. I have my own line coming out at the end of the summer.
What's your line called?
We're trademarking it right now, so I can't say because someone will go and try and screw me over. Probably one of those guys I slept with in the Bahamas.
I got 20,000.
Up after this.
They're up,
"That's
they're up
her."
late at night buying trademarks with all that money. They're like, hey, what's she up to next? So now I've realized how to be a better kind of like, ally and advocate to the groups that I care about representing and bringing like a voice to, and not just cashing paychecks because I can.
Now, let's unpack some of that, because I saw you on Bill Maher, and you said that you were in therapy. Was that your first time going to therapy ever?
No, but it was the first time I went to therapy where I was able to get real about I didn't think I ever had to talk about my brother dying when I was 9 years old. I thought I was smarter than that. And I also thought if you grow up, you have shows that have your name in them, you have books with your name in them, it feels narcissistic. It feels like, oh God, I'm going to go and talk about myself. It's so LA. And really the truth of the matter is until you figure out your own crap and fix it, you're not going to be of use to anybody else. And you're not going to be able to do anything important until you clean out your own injuries. So for me, that was really hardcore. And I didn't want to cry in front of anyone ever. So going to a psychiatrist and being vulnerable and finding out that that's really what strength is being vulnerable, is being able to say, yes, I do want to be in a relationship. I'm not Teflon. I have wants and desires, and like all of the things that feel corny and gross when I was 20 feel normal now. And and I think it's a good messaging to share. And my experience with my psychiatrist was like nothing I'd ever experienced. And so I immediately just started writing it down. And then I was like, oh, this is what I should be doing.
I love therapy. And I think one thing we also realize is that hurt people hurt people. So you have a lot of hurt in you, and you end up redistributing that pain to other people. Did you find that about yourself?
Yeah, and you're shut off, Like I had a scorched earth policy. If somebody pissed me off or did something I didn't like, I was done. Get out of my life. You're not my friend. You're the enemy, because it was tough. It was like, no, there's no gray area, black, white. And I needed to learn how to forgive people. I needed to learn how to talk to people I don't agree with instead of just shutting it down. Talk to conservatives, understand why people voted for Trump. And just in my regular life, being more patient. Like I had never understood that people, like I've had heard about people getting an email and not responding right away. And, have people say, oh, write down your thought and then read it in the morning. I'm like, who does that? That had never even occurred to me as a way to behave. So for me to really sit back, get into meditation, get into cannabis allowed me to get to the place where I could meditate, to calm down enough and be still. So I'm really grateful that I feel a lot healthier.
How much do you smoke a day? Because you talk about cannabis a lot.
I usually take edibles.
Edibles?
Yeah.
Oh, edibles are tough for me.
I think because the microdosed ones now are nothing. It just it makes everything a little bit less annoying.
And what got you to therapy? Like what made you say, you know what, I'm going to try this? Because it's hard for people to talk to somebody and be so open.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump
got you to therapy.
I think he got a lot of people to therapy. I think I'm not the only person who's had this experience. I mean, it's like basically your worst nightmare that won't go away, screaming at you every single day. So now I never watch the news. I was obsessed. Like I would literally sit at my house and be like, I don't want to go to work today so I could watch like NBC or CNN on a loop. And now I'm like, no, I don't do that. I don't even pollute my mind with it. He stole a year of my life. He's not getting another one.
So you didn't see Fox News embracing this breakthrough that you had? Greg Gutfeld, he said it's good that Chelsea was able to step back and see that her reaction to Trump is less about the world and more about the stuff inside her.
Yes, thank you. Thank him, whoever that is.
Forgiveness.
I'm always on Fox, apparently. I always miss it, too.
Now, you talked about learning forgiveness, right? Did you reach out to anybody after going to therapy just to mend things and do
I have, actually. I've reconnected with a couple of people. That was a very specific question because I was like, oh, no. Like, it's almost like AA. You're like, do I have to go apologize to everyone? But the fact of the matter is what my guy, Dan Siegel, who I talk about in my book a lot, explained to me is that it's just important to move forward knowing that you are going to not behave that way anymore. You don't have to go back and say to everybody, hey, because some of the things were hurtful and some of them were painful. You don't have to hold a grudge. But moving forward, I won't end relationships like that. I won't say, this is it. You've screwed up. It's over. It's more of a conversation and being honest instead of just, I thought it was my job to defend the world. And it's like, no, it's not. Shut up.
Even with the Kardashians, have you apologized?
Well, now that we have the Kardashians, I feel like my load is less lightened.
Would you apologize to them for some?
I have apologized to Kim.
Yeah.
Kim doesn't care, first of all. She doesn't care what I'm saying about her. And Chris, I have apologized to because Chris got upset with me once, Jenner. And so I apologized to her. So, yeah, that's fine. And they deserve it, right? I mean, they deserve an apology. And they deserve
the slander and the apology.
They deserve the abuse and they deserve the apology.
All press is good press for some people. They can handle it like you said.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, also, was your reaction to Trump more about what was inside you? Because, I mean, it's not like Trump isn't douchey in a lot of ways.
No. It was what he represented to me. To me, he was like my dad. My dad was a shyster, a dishonest guy, and I grew up with that. So for me, it was a trigger to that. And when my brother died...
Your dad was a salesman, right?
Car salesman.
You just compared your father to Donald Trump.
Oh, no, I have before. I mean, luckily, my dad wasn't as successful. He could have ruined the whole world. But my dad was, that kind of... When my brother died, my dad disappeared and went away. So he was already a little bit sketchy, and then he became like withdrawn and completely never recovered. So for me, they're very similar, Donald Trump and my dad. And bad guys, no morals is basically it.
So you don't like your father now?
Well, he's dead. So, yeah, I love my dad. I love my dad a lot, but I didn't like him as a person. I didn't agree with what he did, but I wouldn't want to hurt him.
Right.
You know, I'm glad he's dead because he wasn't really like having the life that, you know, at a certain age, I think it's more humane for people to just be dead than to be living in a nursing home. So that's a note to you guys to put me down anytime diagnosed with any disease. Knock on for Micah.
Now, do you miss the East Coast so much? Because you said it's so LA. Do you miss New Jersey, New York, that East Coast feeling, or you love LA?
I love LA. I love my life. I'm not ungrateful for it, but I do find it to be a little bit, you know, it can get to be a bit much. And with, you know, when you talk about therapy, like, you know, I grew up in this, I've been living in LA since I was 19. And so everyone's talking about gratitude and the universe and this and kale. And, you know, and you're just like, oh, my God, it drives you up a wall. Every day is a new trend. So for me, that was also my resistance to going into therapy because I didn't want to become one of those people who's talking about mindfulness. And you know, and meanwhile, these are important things to be talking about. So I'm glad I got there. I'm a little late to the party, I feel like. Yeah. I mean, do you guys all meditate?
I go to therapy. I meditate.
I do.
It's hard for me to meditate.
Yeah.
I try to. Like, I can do it for a couple of minutes, but then my mind...
But that's okay. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I've done it. My doctor said commit to every day for 3 months. I was like, 3 months? I could be dead by then. And he's like, no, you can do meditation and to understand that things don't happen overnight. And after 3 months, you're like, oh, I do feel better and I feel focused and not like so much of like a bitch.
Yeah, I do 5 minutes a day of meditation. Therapy once a week.
Yeah, I do 20 minutes every morning.
Wow.
First thing. The guided one on Headspace. He's good. But everybody's meditating now. I mean, that's a complete referendum on the presidency, too. Between Calm and Headspace, everybody's on there doing stuff. And, like, you know, we never lived in a world where everybody was talking about that.
Right. What did your bubble used to feel like? 'Cause you said you was in a bubble of your own privilege. What did it feel like?
Felt like I would go home. There were, like, assistants when I got home, cleaning ladies when I got home. Everybody taking care of everything. Things are labeled in my house, not being self-sufficient, not being able to turn on anything in my own house, having too many people doing things for me, and so many years of that happening, losing my complete identity and self-sufficiency. And I was over it. I was over everything. So, yeah, I mean, I still have all those people.
I was going to say, so now do you clean the toilets in your
still
house?
there.
Do you know how to turn the TV on now?
Yeah, there's like one less person. And like, I was like, as an exercise, I want to pick up dog poop this year. And then I'm like, in May though, like, let's wait till the spring. No, they're doing a lot better. I'm still not where I'd like to be, but I have made an effort. And when you make a concentrated effort in any area of your life, you're going to improve. As long as you're not an idiot.
What do you want to do more? Do you want to cook more?
What do you want to do more? Oh, no. Travel is what I love to do. I just, you know, I love traveling. So,
a lot of pool boys out there to fuck.
And I love skiing. Yeah. Skiing is my favorite thing, pretty much.
So what about relationship-wise now? You've also said that you feel like a lot of the problems you've had with relationships does relate back to your brother saying that he was coming back. And then he didn't. So how did you manage to get over that hurdle? I know a lot of that was in therapy, but have you had a meaningful relationship since then?
I haven't, no, not since I've been to therapy, but since now that I've identified how my brother said, I'll come back, I'll never leave you. I won't leave you with these people, meaning my parents. And when he did leave and never come back, my 9-year-old brain took that as rejection. I thought he left me because he found a better sister and a better family. I didn't have the brain capacity to understand that it was a mistake and it was an accident. I was angry. Right. You lied and men lie, and now my dad is gone too, so I lost 2 guys in 1 year. My whole family went into their own pockets of retreatment to try and heal from losing a brother. And you don't, and then you realize when a professional you're paying tells you this is the reason why you're not in a relationship, because you're so scared a man will leave you and lie to you. You're like, oh, well, it's so obvious, but sometimes you need someone to tell you that you're paying. So you'll notice a theme here. I like to pay people.
So is that why you just run through guys, I guess? Like, guys are so disposable to you?
Yeah, because I don't believe they can measure up. And if they can measure up, I'll make sure that they prove to me that they can.
Wow.
So what are you looking for in a man now, for everyone out there listening? And are you dating anybody?
I'm not dating anybody, no, but I'm ready to date. I want somebody who's got their act together, you know what I mean? That's not going to be up in my business. I don't necessarily need to live with someone, but I like to travel and I love to ski. And I just kind of want to travel 6 months of the year and work on projects I care about 6 months of the year and not devote my life to my work again.
So they have to have a little bit of money.
They have to have their act together. I don't care about paying for stuff, but you can't be borrowing money.
Okay.
You have to be
I'm
an
not going to be a
outright
sponsor.
citizen.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
Right,
and
okay.
you have to have a very small white penis.
Jesus Christ.
So those are really hard to
Why
come
would you want to
by.
spend the rest of your life with that?
I don't. Of course
Oh.
I
Right.
don't.
I thought maybe
Maybe
she
a
didn't want to
man
get.
would say, "Really? Is that what you want?" Yes, that's what I want.
I don't want to get stretched out.
How have you used your privilege to combat prejudice?
Well, I don't know about combating prejudice. I think for me, it's a lesson about keeping your eyes open and looking outside of your own lane. People getting inside their own lanes, especially in our industry. People want to get better and more successful, and you take and you take and take because there's opportunities being thrown at you, and you say yes and you say yes. And for me, I wasn't looking outside of myself. It wasn't until the election that I woke up and said, "Wait, what is all this racism?" I thought the women's movement, I thought we had nailed that, and I thought racism was over because we had elected Barack Obama. And how dumb I was and how naive I was to think that just because I thought that, that's the way the world was. So my marching orders to myself now is about waking that up and being a better ally and advocate, and about showing people how they can just pay more attention and broaden their horizons and understand that your experience is not like everybody else's experience, and to understand what those other experiences are like.
Now, I've heard people say the reason Chelsea Handler got woke is because her career wasn't popping at the time. What do you think of that?
My career, I had a show on Netflix. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't become woke. I became woke when he was elected, I guess. Yeah, that woke me up.
I think it woke a lot of people up.
Yeah, it did. It did. It feels good to be awake, though. I mean, I don't know what the hell I was doing for so long not being awake.
What do you think about the presidential candidates, the 2020 candidates? Anybody that you like? Anybody that you're looking into?
I'm so sick of all this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to decide until, I just want, 3 viable options. I like that everybody's running, but I don't want to listen to it or hear about it until we have some, more concrete options and possibilities moving forward, because there's too many. And they're all good. Anybody's better than Trump, but that can't be the attitude, you know?
I don't know about all of them.
So it was a point where you just got bored with all the pop culture shit?
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten bored a lot in my life, that's my problem, and that's why I went to therapy. I go in and I want to do something really hard, and then I get bored and I quit. And then I get bored and I quit. And then I get another job and I get bored and I quit. And the opportunities that have come my way over and over again, essentially for being a loudmouth who talks about drinking and sleeping around, started to make me go, wait, why do I keep getting rewarded for bad behavior? Oh, because I'm white and I'm pretty and I am outspoken. And I was like that when I was 19 and came to LA, and I just kept getting rewarded, and I never stopped to go, wait, something smells funny. Why am I getting all of this? So, yeah, that's how I feel.
Really? So you never believed in yourself as a talent?
I did, but I think that's a misnomer to think that, or a fallacy to think that everybody who's successful, it's because they have talent. There's too many untalented people that aren't successful, and vice versa. I think it wasn't an easy, listen, my identity is tied to my show. It was tied to being a talk show host and being a comedian and being an author. So for me to not do all of that stuff was, for me, a good opportunity to take a look at myself and say, what does this all mean to you? Are you really, is this that important? Getting your photograph taken, all the thing that comes with fame, to reassess. So I'm glad that I did it. For sure. And, I'm thinner now because of it. So that's really the walk away.
I do think it's harder for Black women to discuss things like being sexual and all of that and get rewarded equally, because people look down on you so much as a Black woman. Like, I can't believe she's discussing those things. How dare she talk about it? And I see that happen all the time.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've never been called ghetto or ratchet.
I'm sure I've been called
Even
a
though
lot
you
of
are.
things, but yeah, exactly. Even though I am ghetto. I agree with you. I don't think a Black girl would have gotten away with it at the time that I did. Not in this country anyway, and probably, not in a lot of places. So I think it's important for all of us to take a look at ourselves and realize how we got here and what happened, And I think now with what's happening with Me Too and Time's Up, you don't have a choice but to take a look at yourself and question.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you're doing anything wrong, you are.
Because
we're all screwing up.
But I mean, that's what I think the most interesting thing about the Times Up Me Too movement is, because I think a lot of times guys think we know, but we don't. Like, guys will be like, that wasn't inappropriate. Who are we to say? You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you what makes you uncomfortable.
Well, that's the thing. It's not about, like in my race documentary, or this documentary I just did for Netflix that comes out at the end of the summer, is about privilege, my own privilege. And this girl, this black woman was singing, and I went to hug her, and I smacked her on the butt. And I do that to girls, like in a sisterhood kind of way. I was like, yeah, like hugged, and she was really offended, and she said, "You can't just touch me like that." She didn't say it then. We got on the phone the next day. I heard she was upset, and she said, "You can't. Black women have been defined by their hairs and their asses for so many years. You cannot just grab my body that way." And I was like, oh my God, it's not about your intention at all. Right. It's about the reception. And so for me, that was good because I've been grabbing a lot of people's asses for a long time. And it's good to know that I shouldn't be.
Just stop.
Will you share that message with Joe Biden?
Joe Biden, yeah, smelling. Don't smell anyone else's hair. I think he's got that message loud and clear. If he can still hear. I mean, he's too old. Like, enough with these old white guys.
I thought that's your type.
It's like 74. I know. I need them out of office so we can get down to business.
You never was scared of catching something because you talk about dating so many different men. You never was scared of catching an STD.
Gonna get his worms from an old man.
STD, no. I mean, STD, no. I mean, no more than anyone else. I mean, it's not like I slept with more. You've probably slept with more people than I've slept with.
No.
How do you know?
He's been with his wife since they were in high school.
Oh, ooh. So maybe
don't look at me like that, man.
Yeah, that's a really long time. Good for you.
Thank you.
Could you see yourself being with somebody, just one person, for the rest of your life?
I mean, I don't know about that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, who knows how? This is the beginning of my healthy, phase of my life. Who knows where it will take me? I don't know about that.
Chelsea, you're sending the universe mixed signals. One moment you say you do want to be in a relationship.
Well, I don't want to listen. It's baby steps. I'm admitting I want to be in a relationship. I'm not admitting that I want to be with somebody for the rest of my life. That's too far. It's like I'm ready to meditate. I'm not ready to go on a silent retreat. You know what I mean? There are steps.
Now, do you miss having a late night show every night?
No.
You don't?
She said that fast.
No, I don't like I don't like the responsibility that comes with it.
Really?
Too many people. It was fun for a while, for sure. But too many people on staff. Too many times you have to spend your day watching yourself, and that's not how I want to spend my day.
Right.
I feel like it would be different for you now, though, because of all of the politics and stuff that you talk about. Like you talk about social issues. Like you'd have more to talk about.
Yeah, no, I just don't like being tied to I don't like to be. I think I outgrew being stuck in a studio. I don't want to be in the same place every single day. I like to be like on a trip and figuring, and filming it. Like when I did ayahuasca in Peru, I got to film that for Netflix.
Right.
They let me go all over the world and film stuff. I'd much prefer to do that kind of stuff where you're talking to real people than sitting in a studio. It's just not like.
Is it more lucrative?
No, it's more. Oh, the talk show?
No, as far as doing Netflix and doing the documentaries and all of that, is that more lucrative?
No, talk show is much more lucrative. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you have to divorce yourself from that idea too and be like, okay, am I going to be okay with not making this amount of money this year? And you're like, shut up. That's such a stupid asinine question. So there's their answer right there. Mm-hmm. And so now I know, like, if my answer is because of something material or money, then the answer is no. It can't be the motivation or basis. And I have to learn this lesson every few years over and over again because it's tempting. Really? You want to go you're like, oh, I could do that commercial for that and get my sister, take care of her kids for the rest. Like, you do things for the wrong reasons and you have to get real about what you want to do. And that's it. You have to constantly remind yourself what's your ego talking and what's real.
Now, you just mentioned Peru. Now, when you did that documentary, you were on a drug.
Ayahuasca.
Now,
what the hell is ayahuasca?
Yeah,
I thought that was a place.
And why did you try that?
You don't know what ayahuasca is?
No.
I thought you were talking about a place I've never been to.
Oh, maybe
No,
it's a white
drug.
person's drug.
Yeah,
maybe
I never
it's
heard
a
of that
white
either.
person.
What does the drug do?
It's a
Like
plant.
cactus?
Ugh, it's intense. It makes
Really?
you vomit and you defecate, first of all.
So why would you want to do that?
Because there are things I'll do on television that I will never do in my real life.
Okay, go ahead.
So I will do that to educate and experience anything experiential where I'm going to be caught off guard I like. So I did not defecate. My shaman, however, did in his pants the entire ceremony. So the only thing I smelled was feculence the entire time I was tripping. But your trip is crazy. You have like a fast forward of it's like an iPod shuffle of childhood memories and you're not in your body, you watching you. So for me, it was my sister and me on the beach, running down the beach, playing with our dogs, being on the kayaks, flipping each other over, laughing hysterically. And I saw it all play out before me like I wasn't in my body.
Really?
And so everyone has that experience where you see yourself outside of yourself. So it was pretty awesome. I mean, it changed my relationship with my sister for sure. It was just about me being told that my sister is, not like me. Don't judge her. Be kinder to her. To be sweeter to her. So yeah. So
and
it was
natural.
It's a plant. You smoke it, or you do a shot. They brew it. Sorry, they brew it into a tea, and you take a shot of it, and then you hallucinate for like 5 hours.
Can I get it off Amazon?
Yeah, no, probably
try
not,
that.
but probably actually. You probably could get it off Facebooks. You can just, there are people who do it all over, like upstate New York. I'm sure people are doing ayahuasca treats. You need a shaman and like someone who leads the ceremony and somebody who knows what they're doing. But yeah, it's popular. Lots of
legal.
people. It's not legal.
Oh.
Not here, but you can still do it.
So the benefit of it is you just get to like see your childhood?
It just kind of brings you in touch with it. Accesses a certain part of your psyche that a lot of people don't have access to. Most of us don't, because it's a psychedelic. So it makes you start to imagine, you start to see the thing that you love the most in the world will appear before you.
Really?
And I thought I was going to have a reckoning with my brother or my mom who's passed away. But it wasn't. It was all about my sister. And it was like, love her harder, love her more, be there for her. She's not like you. She doesn't have to have a big life like you. Because my thing was always trying to encourage her to be better. Like, you get out of New Jersey, move to here, do something with your life. She's like, this is my life. I like this. I want kids. I want to be in suburbia. And I was like, what? So it made me have a lot more understanding of her.
Wow.
It was a breakthrough for sure. But people get sober off of ayahuasca. They go in and if they have addiction issues or depression issues. It's all basically like now microdosing is the thing that everyone's doing. So, microdosing psilocybin from mushrooms, which helps people daily. I took some mushrooms the other day when I was skiing, like microdose. You take like a little mushroom head and it just makes everything sharper, everything up. Like you're just alert. And it's from the ground. So everyone who wants to argue about like natural homeopathic things that are from the ground that just also happen to make you hallucinate.
I enjoy shrooms.
Yeah, who doesn't? They're the best.
That I've done that
I never had them
Is that all
either.
part of your healing? Does that help with your healing?
I can. It was a part of mine.
You have to be in a good mood when you take them, because if not, it's a bad experience.
You have to set your tone always when you take drugs, I think. You have to go, okay, this is going to be a fun time. And I'm not going to pig out when I'm done. Like that's the thing for girls. Because
Right.
I'm coming out with a weed line that is going to isolate the THCV, hopefully, which is the chemical that decreases your hunger. Because we all just get high and go
and
off.
they eat everything.
hungry
And it's
as
like,
hell, yeah.
come on,
That
we
is
want
one
to be
thing I
able to
don't
get
like.
stoned without eating. Gee, I would just recommend when you get stoned, eat right then. So
Right.
that once you're, you know what I
As
mean,
you get
high.
started, you eat everything.
Yeah, don't get started.
Can you have a weed line without guilt? Because you have a lot of white people who are profiting from cannabis. But black people are in jail for harsh sentences for marijuana.
Yeah, well, there's going to have to be a major reconciliation because there's too many people. Coca-Cola's talking about putting cannabis in Coke.
Exactly.
So can I have a weed line while people? Yes, I can move forward with that. Hopefully that's not the case and that they'll start to address that in our criminal justice system. But I also believe that you can do good things while crappy things are happening. And to bring awareness to something like this is so important. And it needs to be somebody who's legitimately, used it for good in their life. And I feel like, that's me. So I've totally, for the drinking, for me to say I've cut my drinking in half is like a sentence I never thought would come out of my mouth ever in a million years. I love drinking. And I haven't had a drink in like a week. I'm dying for one.
That's great.
I've
I've never heard somebody promote drug use and alcohol use as much as you. In such a nice way.
It sounds like a positive way.
It sounds so nice.
Have you ever smoked with Snoop? You and Snoop?
Yeah. I smoked with him the other night. I saw him at something.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
How was that?
Awesome. He's the best. He is the best. I've smoked with Willie Nelson on Netflix too. He gave me some weed that I wasn't right for 3 days after Willie Nelson's weed. I seriously couldn't drive, couldn't talk. And then the next morning I was supposed to shoot again. And I was like, I still can't talk or drive.
I hear that about Willie a lot. Does anybody ever see him roll to make sure it's just weed?
When you get there, it's already
That's what I'm
rolled, and there's a
saying.
woman there who doesn't allow you. I guess it's his girlfriend or his wife. I'm not sure. Who doesn't really allow you to be alone with Willie. So I don't know what's going on. But with me and older men, all women have to stick around because they don't know what I'm going to get up
Willie been
to.
smoking weed so long, he saw the Me Too movement coming years ago. He was preparing for it. He saw the future.
He's like, shoot, I better get unconscious.
Have you ever had a bad experience though?
With weed?
Yeah, or with anything like edibles, with any other drug?
Not really, no. I mean, I like drugs. I take to them nicely. I think it's great. I like to think in different ways, and when it's a mind opener, sometimes you can just abuse something too much and not really get all that you can out of it. So it is good to, like, you know, when you do mushrooms, you're supposed to set an intention. I said to my friend when we were skiing, I'm like, are we supposed to set an intention? He's like, no, this is just a fun one. And I'm like, good. I don't want to be like that every time I do drugs. Like, I have to be like, today I'm going to get Pet through. No, it's not that serious. But you do have to have, like, a really good time. I mean, we all want to have fun, obviously.
Right.
A lot of your drugs are organic. Have you done anything processed, like coke, crack maybe?
Crack. I don't think I've ever done crack. I had a boyfriend who sold crack in high school, but I don't think I did try heroin with him once. I snorted heroin and then threw up immediately, and I didn't have to ever do that again.
Not your type of thing.
No, too hardcore.
You like the organic drugs.
You need drugs that you can do, like, for a duration, not that have a beginning, middle, and end date. Like cocaine, you can't do after a certain age. It's just not. It's a tricky look.
Chelsea, are you sure you shouldn't have named your book "Drugs Will Be the Death of Me" instead of?
No, drugs are the life of me. But thank you for my next title. So by the way, also, I want to say this. I'm doing a tour, since you guys don't have your acts together. I'm going on tour for this book to cities like Clearwater, Florida, too. So I'm hitting a lot of spots, and you can buy tickets at livenation.com. But I do want to say, if you do buy a ticket, you get a book. To the show, to any of my shows across the country at livenation.com, you get a book. So if you are coming to a show, please know that you already get a book.
Chelsea has really trimmed the fat. She's no publicist.
Nope.
No publicist to send books up here.
Nope.
My publicist was too hungover to show up today, so she's sleeping. No, just kidding. She's outside.
I thought she was right. She's right
She
here
had a
sitting
rough
down.
one. I was like, hey, girl, get on my train.
Was it difficult for you to write this book? Because it is very introspective, and there's things that you're still learning about yourself that you had no idea about for years.
It was difficult to hear. I welcomed hearing criticism about myself from somebody that I was paying. So it made it a lot more. It made it more doable, because I think, you know, in this industry, I know people don't want to tell you the truth. And the people who claim to tell you the truth are also not telling you the truth. So it's nice to have somebody say, hey, you're short on empathy. You have no patience. You have this and that, and to work on all of those things and get better at being myself and being more, you know, and not being so reactive to everybody, not going off on everybody because I can or because I feel like it or because they're wearing the wrong shoes. To actually just shut up and sit and listen is like my lesson. And I didn't have that before. I thought I always had to be the life of the party, and I don't have to.
Because you were caught up in the perception of Chelsea Handler as opposed to knowing who Chelsea Handler really was. Yeah.
You had a whole book where people were talking about their perceptions of you also, which I thought was very interesting. Were there things that were, and I always wanted to ask you this because I wasn't here last time you were here, but were there things in that book that you were shocked that, like, damn, this is what you think of me, or stories that you just hadn't even ever heard before?
No, I mean, I'm pretty, I mean, I wasn't ever shocked about anything. I'm just always reminded about your own behavior. You know, if you read stuff about yourself, you're like, oh, wow. Like, sometimes it's funny. And then if you think about it, you're like, well, that's kind of not necessary. Like, why do I have to come? What I realized about my personality is that I have this attitude that I can go in and change the world and fix everybody, and I can fix your problem and fix your problem, fix your problem without ever looking at my own problems.
Right.
And that was what I needed to wake up to. I had issues, and I had anger issues, and and all of those things. So it is hard to, you know, especially when you get better at being you, when you hear stuff about yourself, you're like, oh, that's my old me. But you can't judge yourself like that. You just have to be like, oh, I'm doing well.
I'm evolving.
I'm getting better. Like, look at, this is fun. And more for me than for anyone else. I mean, it's probably a favor to a lot of people in my life as well. But, you know, I'm still practicing, not getting pissed off about little things. It's always a practice. You're going to screw up. You're going to like go meditate and then get in a fight with a parking lot attendant at some point, you know, immediately thereafter. And you just have to go, oh, okay, you slipped up there again. You know, you're not being the best version of yourself. So I don't like to get too caught up in trying to be perfect, because I know I'm not. And I'm just, you know, trying to be honest about it. So it'll help other people, I think, too, be honest about it.
And your therapist will tell you that you got to feel what you feel. So if you feel angry, be angry sometimes.
Yeah. It's good. And it's good to identify, like, oh, I'm feeling insecure right now, or I'm feeling competitive right now, or, you know, I didn't want to be in a place where I was on my phone all the time. Like, that was another distraction. Like, everything would just, my life was I was becoming a product of my environment, and instead of, you know, being in charge of my environment. And, the phone is so easy for all of us. And I don't want to be at a dinner table looking at my telephone. It's gross. It's not the way I want to conduct myself.
I put my phone in my bag when I go out to eat.
I put mine in my butt.
Really? It's called boofing.
You go to jail?
You ever heard of boofing?
No, mine folds up and I just slip it right in my butt. Yeah,
we call that boofing.
No, I didn't know there was a
When you
word
stick
for
something up your ass,
and then
you do that in jail a lot.
That's right. That's a jail thing.
Yeah. They smuggle drugs in.
Oh, I can't wait to
sometimes
get
weapons.
there. I'm going to be so great when I get to jail. Yeah, I'll be like, here, I'll carry that.
Now, being able to say fuck Hollywood is a privilege within itself.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't want to do a talk show. That's not my thing.
Right.
Got you.
You know what I mean? It was my thing for a long time, but like I've never wanted to do the same thing for 10 straight years. I did it for 10, 11, 12 years. And I just was like, the first time, I should have taken more time to myself. And that's the thing. I think we don't value time to even just sit and think about what you're going to do today for 10 minutes before you do it, rather than getting up, go, 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 go. And then you turn around and you're like, you're stressed out.
It's a huge commitment. It's exhausting.
And you don't
then
miss
I
it
think
at all,
people from the outside look at it like you have this opportunity. How could you not take it? But you know yourself better than anybody else. And it does get hard, like you said, to get to the place to do things that's not just for the money or just because you can.
It's not fun to walk away from anything that is paying you a lot of money or to stop doing something.
But that's what I mean. That's privilege. Being so successful that you can say,
totally.
I'm tired of being this successful is a privilege.
Yeah.
And you don't miss it at all.
Because there's some people that's dying to work.
The show?
Yeah.
No.
Not at all. Wow.
And it's also how you define success.
Do you find that hard to believe?
Yeah, because, even the people that you see all the time talking about things, interviewing people, it seems like you would miss it a little bit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I don't miss things in general, usually the past. I'm always like, okay, what's next? Let's do something else. And also, I'm 44. So, like, at a certain time, I wanted to free up my time to spend time for, like, I want to go to Spain for 6 months a year. I want to be able to do those things. And as long as you get in this cycle, I talked to Ellen about this the other day because she's always like, oh, should I keep going another 5 years? What should I do? Where should she go? Does she want to do stand-up more and do all those other things? And it's true. It's like, if you're not in charge of your life, somebody else will be.
Right.
And then you lose it. And then you don't have those, I always said, when I'm in my 40s, I'm not going to be on camera anymore. I'm going to have a house here and have a house there and travel with my family. And it's like, I want to do that.
Right.
That's not all I'm going to do because that's totally not contributing. But that I want to do that. That stuff is important to me.
I would love to see you commit to something, though.
Thank
I would
you.
love to see you, get something that you can't get rid of. Like, herpes.
What?
Thank you.
Why
Thank
would you
you.
say that?
Well, I'm
Thank
saying,
you.
I want to see you commit to
The
something.
kind on my vagina. Thank you. I hope that happens too.
Right. I just don't want you to be able
She's
to
committed
dispose
to-
of things so quickly.
She's committed to
Is
her
what I'm
I
saying.
appreciate that.
Yes.
I appreciate your want for me.
Yes,
For
yes,
my
yes.
happiness.
Yes.
You don't have to
She's
say
committed to
herpes.
happiness.
If everybody's rooting for me, then it's going to happen. I'm going to
Rooting
find
for you,
some great
Chelsea.
guy. I'm going to become like a professional skier. I'll take over Lindsey Vohn's gig. At the tender age of 44, I become a professional skier.
See? Why not? That's
You
a goal.
you need to become a professional skier. That would be great. You're athletic. I could see you on the
He's
slopes.
definitely not athletic.
Not with the skis.
He's definitely not athletic.
Yeah, I'm not coordinated enough for
Oh,
skis.
really?
Nah.
What about a snowboard?
Definitely not.
Too clumsy for that.
We know how to snowboard. Yeah.
You guys go on a lot of snowboarding trips together?
No, I just know he goes snowboarding and I
You also
Not
go
together.
snowboarding, never together.
never
No,
together.
no.
He goes with his family. I go with my friends. I enjoy it, but I fall a lot and then I end up having to soak in Epsom salt.
I know I fall. I wipe out a lot too, and I ski a lot. I went cat skiing the other day in Park City, Utah, and we went down. I mean, I was so out of my league. I was the weakest link. Usually, like, I can keep up with anybody, but this was like another level. And I wiped out so many times. And every time they're like, oh, let's let Chelsea go down first so we can gather, because it's unskied snow and it's like powder up to your knees. So you are just like, it is hardcore. And I was so humiliated. It was definitely a humiliation day.
Have you ever tried skydiving?
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Yeah. I love that.
You are a thrill seeker.
I like jumping out of things, off of things. Yeah.
I did it one time. One time is good enough for me.
Yeah, I did it one time, and then I got down. I was like 19. I was like, oh, I got to do this every day. This is exactly. And then you're like, well, I can't afford to do this every day. And then you never do it again. But I would do it again. I like any sort of adventure, and I like risk.
What else is on your bucket list besides an Asian man?
Leaving here. She's
An
ready to
Asian
go.
man who can ski, that would be great. An Asian skier who speaks fluent Spanish. I can speak Spanish, so that would be a bonus. And who has a great, I guess, Yeah, Chinese. I mean, that's a long shot. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Me ending up with a Chinese guy is just, that would be awesome. If that's how if that's the thing I finally commit to, is just a China businessman.
Yeah.
If you go to
Chinese
China,
businessman, I'll get in trouble for saying a China businessman.
there's
I
a
didn't
lot
mean
of
to
single
say that.
Chinese men because China
I bet
had
there
that
are.
one-child
I
rule.
bet there are.
That's inappropriate. You can't say China businessman?
No, you can't say Chinaman, which it
No,
sounded.
Chinese businessman.
Oh.
I meant to say Chinese businessman.
Okay.
There you
Goodness.
go.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Chelsea was ready to go 10 minutes ago.
Life would be the death of me.
Thank you guys. It's always nice to see you guys.
Is it really,
Is it
Chelsea?
the truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was up here meditating while she was talking to us.
Yeah, I was. I was
If I
taking.
knew you was into drugs, I'd have had some for you.
No, you
Oh, I
wouldn't.
always want
You
drugs.
still sell drugs?
Always. I have.
Yeah, but I could have got some nice organic something.
Okay. Well, next time you'll know. You'll know.
We should do a whole interview on shrooms and just see
I
what
would
happens.
love that.
They've
I
never,
would love
they've never
that.
tried
All of us
shrooms
gotta do
before.
it.
Yeah, of
so-
course. Everybody needs to be on shrooms. That is the best.
Let's do that.
Next
yeah,
time.
you will laugh your ass off.
We
You
should
bring
do
I
that.
definitely
We'll do it.
laugh
We'll
so
plan
hard
for
I
next
cry
time.
when I take shrooms. I start
My cheeks,
bawling.
and my
Yeah.
abs hurt always every day after I take shrooms. It's the best. You just laugh your ass off, and everything that everyone says is hysterical. So it is fun for radio, but you should start the show sober and take them in the beginning so that you can
Yeah.
get through half of it and then just decompose.
should do it,
I
yeah.
wonder how shrooms on going to therapy would be.
Well, I wouldn't shroom, but you can take like microdose and go to therapy. People like that, and they do ketamine therapy too. You know, ketamine,
Nah, I
that
don't know
horse
what that means.
tranquilizer. My friend's doing
Horse
that.
tranquilizer?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'll pass on that one.
Yep.
It doesn't sound
Drugs
natural.
will be the death of me. The next book after life will be the death of me.
Chelsea Handler,
Chelsea
ladies and
Handler.
gentlemen. All right. Well, we
Bye,
appreciate you for joining
guys.
us. It's Chelsea Handler. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.